Like, grow the fuck up. Put on your big girl pants. Put on your big girl fucking pants and grow up. Handle your shit. So how are you supposed to know that any of the work you're doing is working? How are you supposed to know that you're progressing if you can't even witness it? The craziest and hardest thing by far about this whole healing and recovery journey is that most of the progress is immeasurable. So in this video, I'm going to go through some of the major signs, how I knew I was progressing, how I knew that the work I was doing was working. Like and subscribe. I got my emotional support napkins, my coffee, my old lady glasses, and my chapstick. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Hope Chase. Welcome to the shit show. Who the hell am I? I'm Angie, and I spent 20 years in active addiction from 20 to 40. And from 23 to 40, 17 straight years, I was a heroin addict, in and out of jails, detoxes, hospitals. I have a 10-plus page criminal record. I'm a felon. I've been to dozens of detoxes, almost lost limbs, multiple overdoses. For 17 straight years from the age of 23 to 40, the longest clean time I could put together was 11 fucking days. And at the end of 2019, I lost both of my parents within a 3-month period of time. Cut to today, I'm 5.5 years into this crazy, wild trip of a journey. And I credit all the fucking success that I've had to the work I've done on myself and changing my mindset and retraining my brain and learning new ways to react to life. And I share my story online in the hopes of inspiring you and helping you realize that changing your story is fucking possible, truly. So let's get into it. November 9th, 2019 was the last day I used dope. My dad had just died in September, and then 3 weeks after that, in December 2019, my mom passed away. So the first year and a half of my recovery, I don't even really call it recovery because I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing anything. I was still living a junkie life. I was still selling drugs. I wasn't working on myself. I was trying to grieve my parents. I was miserable. I was suicidal. I wanted to end it all. I was Googling ways to end it all. That pain brought me to the moment where staying the same and staying in that misery was so much scarier than trying to do anything about it. And that's pretty much the definition of a rock bottom. Even though I had experienced all of the fucking consequences, jails didn't do anything. I got arrested a million fucking times. I have over a 10-page criminal record. Excuse me, ma'am. Like, I was a junkie, and that was part of my junkie life. And I was okay with that. I became okay with enduring the fucking consequences. The consequences didn't fucking scare me at all. And I was literally a fucking Debbie Downer. I was always expecting the worst. Everything, I was complaining all the fucking time. Everything was negative. I was stuck in a seemingly endless cycle of fucking negativity all the fucking time. I had been surrounded by worst case scenarios for 20 fucking years. That's all I expected from life. Everything always went wrong. Everything was always happening to me. Why? Why me? Poor me, feeling sorry for myself. You name it. I was an expert at self-pity and negativity. The first thing that happened that made me think, oh, wait, maybe I am changing. Maybe this work that I started doing is actually doing something. I accredit all my success to changing my mindset. Literally changed my life. And if you're interested, little selfish plug here, I wrote a journal and an ebook. Link is in the description. If you're interested in knowing what kind of work I did on myself, I go through what I've done and continue to do today. Link is in the description. So I had been doing this work that I basically, like, I took a little bit from here, I took a little bit from here, I took a little bit from here, what I could do for myself, what made sense to me. And I kind of just started doing these things. I was writing my goals every day. I was writing intentions. I was focusing on my future. I was journaling. I was getting out the shit that I needed to get out about my parents dying, trying to grieve my past, trying to let it go and move on. I was trying to meditate, although meditation didn't really do anything for me for a while. Again, it's a skill. It takes practice. You have to practice these things. I started really practicing and prioritizing gratitude. Gratitude is something that didn't come. It didn't come naturally to me. I didn't know how to feel gratitude. I started prioritizing that in my life. And I remember I had been kicked out of another apartment, not for anything like I was used to. It wasn't because I was a dope fiend or because I was fucking filthy or because I was having loud parties or because I was breaking shit or fighting people. It was just a simple misunderstanding. They needed to do work on the place and I just wasn't prepared. It was essentially my fault because I wasn't prepared. And I found myself with nowhere to go. So I stayed on someone's futon for about 2 months. The person allowed me to stay there for free because they knew I was struggling and I had extra money. And it was in that moment that I had the extra money that I realized I wasn't running to the pharmacy. I wasn't running to get high. I wasn't running to cop something with the extra money I had. For 20 fucking years of my addiction, the first thought whenever I had an extra couple bucks in my pocket was, what can I go cop? What can I get high off of? How can I feel good? How can I escape my reality today? Now, this was 2021, October around 2021. And I was like, wow, maybe this shit is working. But it was during that time where I started feeling actual gratitude. Like I could feel it in my fucking chest. I realized one day I was like riding on the bus and I was smiling just for no fucking reason. And I was like, who the fuck is she? Who is this chick that is smiling now? Like, because that wasn't me. I was always fucking negative and miserable. I mean, let's be honest. But a few months after that, I found myself in another position where I had to find another fucking apartment. Between 2020 and the beginning of 2021, I had to move 9 fucking times. That's how chaotic my fucking life was. So cut to about 7 or 8 months later, I had been living in my own place again for a long time. I adopted her, my most amazing fucking puppy child. I was still working on myself every single fucking day, prioritizing myself and the work I was doing on myself, which was also very new to me because I didn't know how to prioritize myself. I was thinking about moving apartments again because I wanted to find something cheaper. I was only living off $500 a month. And I wasn't even really looking. Something popped up on my feed on Facebook one day and I saw this apartment that was cheaper. The thing was that the apartment that I'm talking about was only supposed to be available for 3 months, okay? The time of year this was like in July. So that meant July, August, September, or it was like August, September, October, which would have meant that 3 months later was like the middle of high season here, the middle of the busiest time of year, tourist season, high season, and it's like impossible to find affordable apartments. And so I didn't know what to do, and I kept going back and forth, and I even asked a couple people. Every single person that I asked told me not to move, told me to stay where I was, told me to stay in a place where I was unhappy because it might be really fucking hard 3 months down the road to find a new place. My immediate reaction to this, and this is the whole point. My immediate reaction to this wasn't to say, oh yeah, you're right, I'm just going to stay. My immediate reaction was to say, I'm trying not to live in fear anymore. Like to stay in a place that I'm unhappy because it might be hard 3 months from now. I'm not trying to live in fear because what if it works out even better? What if it works out so fucking good in this fucking situation where I realized that I wasn't expecting the worst? I was actually thinking, well, what if it works out great? Where for 20 years, I was so used to thinking, well, it's not going to work out. Nothing ever works out. Why would it work out? Literally, that was like my life motto was expect the worst. I couldn't believe that my reaction wasn't negative. And I realized that, oh my God, this work that I'm doing must be fucking working. So what did I do? I ended up taking that place that was only supposed to be available for 3 months. And when that 3 months approached, and I was supposed to leave that apartment, another room in the same house was available and opened up. And the owner offered me that room for the same fucking price. And I ended up staying there for almost 2 years. So it worked out better than I could have imagined. It worked out. I didn't have to look for an apartment. I found something in the same fucking price range in the middle of fucking high season with all the tourists there. I didn't have to pay any extra. I didn't even have to move. I just went from one room to the next door room. That's it. And I ended up staying for 2 years and it worked out fucking great. So that's your sign to take risks. I had started to trust and believe that, you know what? It's going to be okay. Because guess what? It always has been, and it always fucking will be. The next thing that made me realize that, okay, maybe I am changing and maybe this work really is working, is when I realized that I stopped reacting to things. I stopped losing my shit over everything. I stopped catastrophizing everything. I stopped crying over spilt milk, or in my case, coffee, because literally I would have a breakdown if I fucking spilled my coffee. Every little inconvenience was a fucking catastrophe for me. I would literally fucking have breakdowns over the seemingly most stupid shit. And that was my normal. I began to realize that I was having more patience with myself. I don't care what it was. I would, walk all the way to and from the grocery store and get home and realize I forgot something at the register. My puppy child would chew a hole in my favorite bathing suit, or something would break, or I drop a glass, something would break, and I wouldn't lose my shit. I wouldn't have a breakdown. I had this calmness about me. It was like my body wanted to react, right? It's like something, seemingly small and stupid would happen. Like, literally I'd spill my coffee, or like I'd be sitting on my bed like this, right? Or I'd put a notebook down on my bed as like a little table and put my coffee on top of my notebook. And then I'd get mad and have a breakdown when the coffee spilled all over the bed. And it's like, I started realizing, Ange, like, that's your fucking fault, right? Or if my puppy child would like chew something up, I'd be like, Ange, she's just a fucking puppy. That's what puppies do. It's your fault that you left something out, right? I started taking responsibility for the shit that I knew was my fault. And I started reacting in ways where like I was calm about it. And I was like, Ange, like, grow the fuck up. Put on your big girl pants. Put on your big girl fucking pants and grow up. Handle your shit. Because I was so used to every little inconvenience being the end of the fucking world. Everything was a fucking catastrophe. So when I began like not overly exaggerating my reactions and taking a step back and being like, this could have been avoided. Ange, this is your fault. Grow the fuck up. Okay. All right. Okay. I get it. This shit's working. I'm changing. I'm growing. Progress is being fucking made. And that was probably around a year after I started really working on myself and prioritizing the work that I was doing on a daily basis. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about, something that I don't talk a lot about, is that I was in a very abusive, narcissistic situation for the very early, like the first year, little over a year of my, again, recovery, because I wasn't working on myself and I was still miserable and trying to grieve my parents. But someone that I had known for 20 years of my life had crossed the line. Seemingly out of fucking nowhere, just became very narcissistic and abusive. It was fucking torture for me, right? I would find myself sometimes hiding in my bathroom. It was torturous. It was fucking hell. When I look at it now, looking back, I am actually so fucking grateful that I found myself in that situation, because somewhere along the way, I found the strength to realize that I would be okay on my own. For the longest time, I was scared to be alone, which I know it kind of sounds weird because I'm always alone now. And I fucking truly enjoy being alone. I bask in my solitude, right? I protect my energy at all fucking costs these days. It took me experiencing that to realize, or to find the strength to realize that I could do it all on my own. And I'd say about a year or 8 months after that situation was over, I realized this. I no longer needed the last word in anything. I realized and learned the lesson, finally, that not reacting is the best reaction. I stopped reacting entirely, because if you understand the whole narcissistic dynamic, first of all, I'm sorry, because it's an awful thing to be involved in. They feed off of our reactions. Not reacting truly is the best reaction, really, in anything in life. I mean, that's how I deal with trolls online and hate comments and all the things. Like, it truly doesn't affect me at all anymore because I learned this lesson. Also, I am living in my truth today. I am living with integrity today. I don't have anything to hide. When I was still hiding things, when I felt secretive or shame and guilt, when I was still living with the shame of my past and the guilt of my past, it was that much harder for me not to react because I still felt shame inside for who I was as a person during my addiction. But once I truly dealt with that and let it go and healed those pieces of me, the integrity that was built from that, the integrity that grew from knowing that I had absolutely nothing to hide anymore, that's when I stopped reacting. Because there was nothing that anybody can say to me that would garner a reaction. There's nothing that you can say to me that is going to hurt me because I've already hurt myself so fucking much, way more than anybody else can. There's really nothing that affects me anymore. I took my power back. I took my fucking power back. I don't need the last word anymore. There's nothing you can say to me that's going to piss me off so much that I'm going to go, word for word. I don't need the last word in any argument, in any situation. I can't change anything about anyone else's behaviors. There is no reaction that's going to change someone else's behavior, period. And I learned that from that situation. I learned that there is nothing that I'm going to say. There is no last word. There is no argument. There is no comeback. There is no response or reply that is going to change that person. And let me tell you, it's a powerful fucking feeling. So these changes, these moments in my memory that I can literally think back and remember exactly when I realized these things. The point is that I didn't see it when it was happening. I didn't feel it when it was happening. Chapstick break. So dry. I'm so dry. The point is, I didn't feel any of these changes happening. You will continue to repeat the same circumstances over and over and over and over again until you learn the lesson. And I didn't know that I was changing. I didn't even know that I was learning these lessons until I was faced with circumstances that demanded a different reaction. Like the changes were happening along the way, but I just didn't realize it until the circumstances happened, until something brought something out of me when I realized, oh, you know what? This is different. This is different. This is so fucking different. So I say all of this to say, just don't fucking give up. The changes, the most important changes. I mean, it's easy, I say in quotes, huge fucking quotes. It can be relatively easy to get things looking okay from the outside, but it's the internal work and the work that we do on the inside that truly matters. It's the internal work that gives us the outcome that we truly crave. It's the internal work that creates the change in the story. But what happens is a lot of us don't see it fast enough or don't see it at all, and we end up thinking that nothing's working and kind of giving up. Because when I started doing this work on myself, I had no fucking idea what to look out for, or even if it was going to do anything. I didn't even know what to expect. I had no fucking idea. I was kind of just going blindly, trying things. I didn't fucking know. Nobody told me what to do. Nobody said, here, do these things. Change your mindset. It'll change your life. Nobody told me these things. I just did it because it felt, it felt like that's what I needed to do. Because if there's one thing that I fucking learned, huge fucking lesson, is that circumstances don't matter. Your circumstances don't fucking matter. If you really want to fucking change, you will find a way, period. But all I knew was that staying in my misery, staying the same, was so much more scarier than just trying to change. I gave myself a fucking chance. And that's it. Give yourself a fucking chance. And as corny as it fucking sounds, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Don't quit before the miracle happens. I know, I can't believe I just said that. I hate it when people talk in cliches. I fucking hate it. No, man. I love meetings. I love AA. Back 20 years ago when, I was in AA, literally, it gave me the principles and the foundation and the ideas to live off of in recovery, right? Like, the principles, I think, are valid. But it used to annoy the shit out of me hearing people talking fucking AA sayings and cliches and Like use your own words, bro. Like, don't you have original thoughts for yourself? But again, cliches are cliches for a reason because they work. So don't quit before the miracle happens, because it will happen as long as you don't fucking give up on yourself. Don't fucking give up on yourself. So that's all I have to say. Like and subscribe. Okay, I love you. I'll see you in the next video. I tried to put lights up in the background, but the fact that it's fucking winter time and the sun is shining, you really can't fucking see. Excuse me, ma'am. She's sitting right here. Excuse me.